And you also mentioned about going to Scotts Valley.
Yeah, he had a
Tell,
house.
tell us about that.
Well, he called it the farm, and it was sort of a farmhouse. I think he had 6 acres or something there,
Hmm.
and he just loved to go down there and do his own gardening, because at that time his garden in San Francisco had been well developed, and then he was, the Gregory's family was there that owned a lot of land, and he did a lot of work with the Gregories, and we're great friends with them, and that's the Gregory house was the one that Bill Wooster did. It's published with the water towers. It's a fantastic piece of California architecture in my book. And then, but he loved that place, and finally there was nothing there. He'd done a little parterre garden out in front of it under some locust trees. It never did any good. So, and the house didn't have any foundations on it, so he finally got enough together that he got Floyd Giroux, the outdoor construction people, and his crew down there, and they put brick foundations under it, and they did this big brick terrace. And the water situation was this spring that had so much iron in it, you didn't want to drink it, and Mrs. Church would complain all the time about how this smelled. And so he finally, water was available from the town or the county or someplace, and he ran this water line up to his house, and then the garden really flourished. Mm-hmm. That he was able to just turn on his sprinklers, and but he really that was sort of his home away from home, and with the Santa Cruz campus in its development stages, he set up an office there, and
well, you mentioned earlier about kind of going there and him barbecuing.
Yeah, well, we would have kind of spend the weekend down there. Mm-hmm. We always got the bedroom where the bees had gotten into the ceiling and honey was dripping through it. It was, but it was just a fun time in the evening. There was a butcher shop down in Scotts Valley that everybody knew him, and he'd go down there and he'd get steaks, and then the fellow right across the road grew sweet corn at 20 years for $1. And he for a barbecue, which I thought was very, very inventive, he had the end cut out of an old boiler, about 5-foot diameter boiler, and it was sort of the concave thing, and he went down and got some of these scalloped concrete blocks in a circle thing. They were red. It used to be edging. You'd use edging for something, and he set this thing in there. Then he had a grill made. It was triangular out of rebars, and then in the center there was a grill. And during the day, in cleanup work, you'd get a bunch of brush and stuff and throw it in there, and then burn it down and at night, and then throw a couple logs on it. And when you got embers, you'd throw the steak on it, and then bust open the bourbon bottle, and things went downhill from there. And that's when I tried to, pump him for some information about, what his philosophy was. Well, it was too late. There wasn't any. And then you sit around this out in the evening, and in that area you can see the stars because there was no ambient light from anything, and it was just a warm, marvelous time. And the chit-chat was minor. It was more staring off into space and looking at the stars. Mm-hmm.